What's up, everybody? Welcome to From the Archive, the series in which I'm going to go through my personal stash, an archive of books, whether it's wargame related or not, and pick one and share it with you all, like talk about it, things of that nature. Over the years of being, a nerd and into this hobby and whatnot, I've amassed a collection of books, and for one reason or another, I tend to keep them, and whether or not I even really enjoy them, I just tend to keep them because I like physical, tangible books on stuff. And a lot of these books, pretty much all these books you're looking at here in one way or another, has helped shape my personal tastes, thoughts, and ideas when it comes to collecting miniatures in this wargaming hobby, maybe as direct inspiration or just something in the back of my mind. So I thought it would be cool as I unpack these things to share them with you. So what I'm going to do in each ramble, I'm going to pick one book kind of haphazardly, and I'm gonna go sit down at the table with you, and we're gonna look through it. I'm gonna give a basic thought synopsis on it, share my opinions on it, break it down a little bit, maybe look inside of it a little, and just talk about it, whether it's a novel, a codex, or a tabletop RPG book or whatever. So some of these books I have multiples of for some reason, not really sure why. Other books I do not, and it's just going to be some fun. I thought it'd be cool to kind of get some insight, perhaps, and share my thoughts on stuff that I have in my small little personal collection here, and for you all to share your thoughts as well on what I'm looking at when it comes to the book in question. What you have? Do you have the same book? What are your thoughts on it? And things like that. So this should be a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab one of these books, and I'll meet you at the table. Welcome back to the table. So it's been a while since I've done it from the archive, and I've been sick the past couple of weeks, but I'm feeling better. I'm not 100% yet, but I'm way better than I was. So I thought I'd go ahead and take a stab at another from the archive ramble. I enjoy doing these. This is episode 4 for season 1. A couple of things. I've decided that I'm going to break these seasons, if you will, assuming there'll be a second, and I think I have enough stuff to at least have a second season and go on. I'm going to break them into 10 total episodes each. And as far as switching on again, off again from the hobby, that's going to be specifically 40K stuff, right? So I want to do, my goal is, at least for now, to try and do something that's 40K related, just like the past episode was the old Black Templars Codex, and now this is something that's not 40K related, but still I think interesting. I'm also going to broaden the horizons, and not just to be something applicable to the hobby in some super way, but just something interesting to me, and I think hobbyists at large would also find an interest in. So with that said, I'm a big fan of the Darksiders series. Having said that, I haven't played 3 yet. I'm looking forward to the one coming out with Strife. Genesis, I think is what it's called. But eventually I want to get my hands on 3 to play it and everything. But I just really enjoyed the whole Darksiders games. I remember when Darksiders 1 came out. It was something, I followed it for a bit. It came out, I got it. I had a lot of fun. It's basically like Darksiders 1 and 2, and I'm assuming 3, even though I haven't played 3 myself, is almost like a Legend of Zelda, Castlevania-esque. You could call, I wouldn't necessarily call it a Metroidvania in that regard, but it's kind of like a blending of that 3 kind of concept of, backtracking, getting stuff, doing this. You had, quite frankly, you had your Navi and your hookshot and stuff like that in Darksiders 1 and 2 and everything. So, anyways, this is the artwork for Darksiders 2. This, I believe, came with the kind of special edition, whatever they called it. And one of the things, being a fan of 40K, and even if you're not so much a big 40K person, you're more of a fantasy person, the aesthetic is really nice in Darksiders. They're designed for things such as the Makers and the Horsemen, and the Demons, the Undead, and the Angels. It's a very cool design. It's reminiscent in some ways to how Blizzard does its designs for things as well, you could say. But I think they just did a really good job and really bringing characteristic to the different factions involved, and it wasn't too cartoony, unrealistic. Obviously, I mean, you just look at Death here, and you look at the makers and stuff, and it's definitely not meant for realism, you could say, but it wasn't some weird cartoony design that felt too out there, and I wasn't going for a weird hyperrealism in a way either. I just really enjoyed the art style of the game, and I just want to show this because the color palettes chosen for certain things, the way they do corruption and evil and the light and all that, it's a good inspiration even for on the hobby side for maybe looking at trying your hand at if you're painting up a wizard or you're painting up something in chaos or whatever, you can try your hand at it. Now the angels, I'm a big fan of anything with angelic I should say, kind of visualization and angelic type of faction stuff. There's a corrupted angel, but they really did, I think, a good job with the angelic theming of these guys. It obviously draws upon iconography that you can relate to. I'm not saying on a religious level necessarily. What I like, it's not, you got heaven and hell, angels and demons, but it's not in your face religiosity, if that makes any sense. It's just these are factions. These are the equivalent of an angelic race of alien and an alien race that's demonic in a way, you could say. It did a really good job aesthetically, but it's still what links them, what they use for visuals on the angels and all that, all links up very well. Their military force for their angel group is called the Hell Guard. It's a fantastic name for a force. And these are just some angel designs. There are fantastic designs for all of them. And you have your constructs and the like, and it's just a really good design kind of feel for things. And Warhammer Hordes might feel more inspiration out of stuff, maybe just by looking at this picture, for example. But even in a 40K setting, just the color palette and choice for things, and not everything, like I said at the beginning of this, has to correlate to being something that we can apply to the hobby. But being a fan of the 40K miniature wargaming setting, even if you don't really play the hobby so much, if you're a fan of that setting, then you're probably a fan of sci-fi, even fantasy-esque elements. And we're all kind of nerds here in some way in regard, and probably just have an appreciation in general for that. So I guess my question to you is, have you played any of the Darksiders games? I figure they're pretty popular. I know there's a mixed bag. I enjoyed 1 and 2. I liked being war more than death, just because I liked having basically a power fist and a sword, right, and everything. But I enjoyed being, playing in both. I would love a game. Now the whole point is you're one of the horsemen, but I would love some type of game spin-off, maybe where you play as one of the Hellguard champions or whatever. That would be pretty cool. But anyways, the story for Darksiders is kind of out there, and I still am trying to wrap my head around it because I haven't played 3, and because of Genesis coming out, and because it seems like Strife's gameplay is happening prior to all the events of Darksiders 1, 2, and 3, it seems. And 3 seems to take place within a certain event, just like 1 and 2 do. It's very interesting. But anyways, just a lot of really neat visuals from the whole game. And I always enjoy special editions of stuff, collector's edition of things that have an art book. And this one's kind of basic, bare bones, doesn't go too in depth. But you definitely get a good sense of the aesthetics and what they're going for. And being that it's a game that is driven by gear as well, not to the same extent as something like an MMO or Destiny or whatever. You do get different scythes and whatnot for death, and different other axe weapons and the like. So just seeing the overall just design aesthetic, like that would be a pretty cool looking Crozius, right? It's just stuff like this you can take a look at and go, hey, if you want to bring it back to the hobby, you can go, hey, I really like the way this looks. I think I know a good bit to base this off of, and then you take maybe another bit, slap it on there. You take plastic card, some green stuff maybe, whatever it is, and you can all of a sudden have your chaplain or your chaos champion or even a Necron overlord or whomever have something that looks a bit unique. And obviously on the fantasy side, the door is much wider from this type of aesthetic, which is more of a fantasy-esque aesthetic anyway. But yeah, I just think it's a really neat concept of just the style and aesthetic that Darksiders has going for it. One of my concerns for this series when it first came out or was coming out was how close was it going to rip off Diablo basically in feel. In my opinion, the closest they get are their angels, but they don't have energy wings, which makes the Diablo angels my favorite angelic kind of interpretation in the game, or pretty much ever. And then the Hellguard are, I would say, probably second thus far, which is saying something. So the aesthetic kind of really grew into its own. There was concern like, how is it gonna hit too much of Warcraft / Diablo? Will it venture into some other IPs? And obviously you can see inspiration. But all in all, I think it really did kind of come into its own. But I mean, look at all these cool looking things, right? Plenty of people have fantastic capabilities in this hobby to scratch build / kit bash weapon bits, things in general, whether it's for a dreadnought, whether it's for a knight, whether it's for a Thunderhammer counts as for one of the Terminators or something in power armor or whatever. There's a lot of cool inspiration you can find on the internet in general, in fantasy games, D&D and stuff, artwork and the like as well, and obviously here too. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, the environments also, and you got a little look at them here, are really good potential inspiration also for doing maybe your own diorama for your army to be sitting on, or even doing some terrain concepts. So while it doesn't all have to be about our hobby, we can just appreciate things outside of the hobby itself. And I can tell you, in playing this game or the Darksiders series, I wasn't thinking about 40k and how this stuff could fit in well there or whatever. I was just enjoying the scenery and the setting for what it was. But definitely hindsight, you can look at things and get inspiration. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough about this little book here. It's a tiny little book, came with the game. I do have some other Darksiders art books that probably make their way into the series at some point. Share your thoughts. Are you a fan of the game series or not? I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about Genesis being kind of more of a twin-stick shooter-y type of feel it seems like. I'm a big fan of Strife, the character, so we'll see. I'm still very interested in that game coming out. Share your thoughts. Thanks so much for sticking through this. Kind of went off on a tangent. It's a fun aesthetic setting to be sure. Anyways, until next time, take it easy.